How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to go over this article. It is from a couple of weeks ago. I haven't had a chance to actually go over this story. I really wanted to talk about it. Finally have the chance. I know I haven't made much content recently. Most of you probably already know I have been very sick. I was bedridden pretty much all of last week. I haven't quite got over it yet. You probably hear my voice is still a little bit raspy, but I really wanted to make this video, so even though I'm not fully recovered, I am going to make it for you now. And that is, Nivea is being binned after allegations of homophobia by employees. Oh no, they insulted the gods of the LGBTQIP community. We can't have that. So let's get into that one right now.
Just a quick message. Whether it's an algorithm hiding content or outright deletion, internet censorship is on the rise. Please consider following me on free speech websites Gab, Minds, and BitChute. I'm constantly posting content, and they are a great way to stay notified of uploads. Can't wait to see you there.
Nivea has been spectacularly dumped by its own advertising agency and accused of homophobia after a company executive allegedly rejected an ad pitch saying, quote unquote, "We don't do gay." I love that. I think it's fantastic if that happened, that someone is finally standing up to these snowflake self-appointed gods of the LGBTQIP community who think that simply because they have a different sexual preference to normal people that we all have to bow down to them and we're not allowed to be critical of them and we just have to love everything about them and we can't say that what we think what they're doing is unnatural or whatever. No, it's great that someone in the corporate world is actually standing up to them, and I agree. They shouldn't do it if they don't want to. If that's not their product, then that is their right to say that they don't do gay. I don't see what the problem is there. But obviously, because they have offended those who deem themselves gods above us and completely outside the realms of criticism, as in we're not allowed to criticize them one bit, they have got angry. They said the offensive remarks have prompted a boycott movement, with angry consumers posting videos and photos of themselves binning their Nivea products in an attempt to cancel the skin brand. So you see here, we just got a picture of someone sort of throwing it in the bin. Put this out because it's interesting the way that news.com have framed it, and they said that it's prompted a boycott movement with angry consumers posting videos and photos of themselves. What they're trying to do is paint a picture that it's somehow a widespread boycott movement, that it's not just a handful of snowflakes who were really upset that Nivea stood up to people whom they deem untouchable. But let's have a quick look at how news.com framed it when Gillette flat out insulted every man on the planet, especially white men. They said a lot of men have lost it, as in they've gone crazy, over the Gillette ad calling for a furious boycott of the shaver brand. And they said just days after Gillette's ad criticizing toxic masculinity, the world has imploded and furious men are calling for a boycott of the razor blade. See what they're doing there is they're trying to exaggerate the reaction of men who were rightly angry at an ad that genuinely insulted them. So Gillette went out and spent millions of dollars on that ad that essentially said men needed to do better and especially white men needed to be stopped from doing things that were somehow deemed bad, like going and talking to a woman. According to Gillette, that is this guy Shannon Malloy. I think he's actually a journalist famous for pushing left-wing lines like this, but still he works for news.com, and I just wanted to put it up to highlight the difference in framing there. So when the gods of the gays are insulted, suddenly everyone's angry, but when men are actually insulted, all of a sudden it's just a few furious men just going crazy over something which apparently they shouldn't go crazy over according to news.com. But anyway, this is the interesting here. Boycotting efforts began after the contents of a phone call between Nivea executives and creatives from the New York-based ad agency Foot, Cone and Building, FCB, were leaked. Nivea has been a client of FCB for 100 years and spends more than $400 million on advertising annually. So, as we read earlier, Nivea was spectacularly dumped by their advertising agency. That means this advertising agency gave up $400 million a year because someone who worked for them was triggered by the opinions of an employee at Nivea. Someone said their attitude is so offensive and they were such massive snowflakes that they tore up a $400 million a year contract. I don't know what planet these Muppets are from, but where I'm from, that's not a good way to do business. I mean, to be fair, I've never run a business big enough to give up a $400 million a year contract, but it doesn't seem like it's very good business practices. Well, to each their own, I guess. If they want to give up that kind of money to be a snowflake, it's up to them. FCB released a statement with its CEO, Carter Murray, explaining the decision. He said, quote, "There comes a point in every long-term relationship when you reflect on what you've accomplished together and set your sails for where your journey will take you next. Sometimes that journey ahead demands tough choices that lead down different paths." End quote. Isn't that a lovely breakup message? And isn't it funny how their journey seems to have come to a point where they're just giving up a $400 million a year contract because one of their employees' feelings were hurt. Again, I would not be happy if I was a shareholder of this business and an executive gave up that contract because their feelings were hurt. But hell, if that's the way they want to do business, then how long are they going to be in business for? Who knows? Many have moved to permanently cancel the brand after years of advertising faux pas and subsequent public apologies from the company. So again, notice the framing here from the mainstream media. Many, not really that many in the grand scheme of things, probably just a handful of people who are just really upset. But because it's the mainstream media, what they have to do is they have to amplify the voices that they want to amplify and ignore the voices that they want to ignore. And because these people are pushing the message that they want to push, they're going to say it's everyone's boycotting Nivea, even though most people probably think it's fantastic, and we'll have a look at that shortly. So we got just two people putting their Nivea in the bin there. Even George Takei laid in. He said Nivea was shown an ad proposal from their agency that had two men touching hands. Their response: "We don't do gay at Nivea." Well, sorry, but from here forward, we gays and our friends don't do Nivea. Oh well, I'm sure they'll be fine, and I'm sure it'll cost them less than what it cost their advertising agency, ultimately. Nivea remains silent on the quote-unquote unsubstantiated speculations around this matter. They said, quote, "Nonetheless, we wish to express our concern on the reported allegations as they do not reflect the values of Berstdorf, Nivea, and our employees worldwide. No form of discrimination, direct or indirect, is or will be tolerated. We are strongly committed to diversity, mutual respect, equal opportunity, and tolerance." So this is just a stock standard corporate response here. Blah, blah, blah. We support all the things that the apparent current paradigm says that we need to support. Now go away. I mean, a better response would have just been that we accept what our employee has said. We would much rather promote a brand that stays out of issues such as homosexuality. They could have done that. We want to promote products for everyone, and that means not celebrating one group's chosen sexual path. I don't know why that is such a hard thing to say, but still, whatever. It is what it is. This is what you'd expect from a corporation. But let's have a look at what the people have to say. So do you think Nivea should be boycotted? No. Cast your vote. And 64% to 33, or 36%, sorry. It's only a straw poll, so only 13,000 voters. But as news.com were trying to say, many people, lots of people think Nivea should be boycotted. But the majority of news.com readers do not think it should have been boycotted. And I suspect a lot of this yeses here were actually people who aren't news.com readers or just leftist activists who have been told, come quick, vote on this, vote on this, vote on this. We're losing so badly. So I suspect the number is actually probably higher than that in the real world, but who knows? This isn't the first time the skincare company has been criticised for its ill-advised campaign decisions. And we got this one here, it's hilarious. White is purity. They said the deodorant ad caused huge controversy over its racist slogan. White is purity. But white is the colour of clean. Like, look at this. This is my white mug here. It's clean. That's just the way it is. But of course, because these people are stuck in intersectionality and they are virulently anti-white, they see something like this and they just get triggered and angry. Which is why it's sort of along the lines of, it's okay to be white. Imagine if you put up there and said, white is purity in a sign. It would make them go even more nuts. But it's okay to be white is better as a troll because it's an innocuous statement. But I think this is still great because it's truth. Like, white is a colour of purity. When you think of purity, you think of whiteness, cleanliness, the light. White and the light. It's also the colour of godliness. It's got nothing to do with race in that regard. It's just that's what the colour signifies. And as I said, obviously, these leftist NPCs who are subservient to Satan and are anti-whites think that that is somehow an evil slogan when clearly it's not. And then here was another one here. For visibly fairer skin. And Nivea's targeted billboard promised Africans visibly fairer skin from their moisturiser. And obviously that got people really triggered as well. But what these leftists don't understand, and clearly they don't realise, is that fairer skin is a sign of beauty in a large number of cultures. So for them to say visibly fairer skin, that's an advertising campaign targeted at a culture, obviously, where fairer skin is considered a sign of beauty. And again, because these leftists are so anti-white, the idea that fairer skin would be a sign of beauty in quite a few cultures around the world, it doesn't compute with them. So for them, they see this and their anti-white programming kicks in and they think, fairer skin, yeah, that, you're saying fairer skin's a beauty standard, that's evil, that's white colonialism, and they get all triggered. But, it's actually not white people, it's black people who set their own standards. And people in other countries, especially in China as well. China's a big one, East Asia. And then we have this last one, re-civilize yourself. Look like you give a damn, Nivea. So he's carrying a head here, and this one said the end campaign caused significant offence to minority groups around the world. Oh no, it caused significant offence. But again, look at these captions here. Who cares? Significant offence. What does it even matter? Again, what this story shows us is just how silly the world has become. I think it's fine. I think what they said was totally fine. What if they were a Christian advertising group and they said that they don't do gay? Would they then get upset as well? Of course they would, because for them, you can't insult the gods of the LGBTQIP community. They are supposed to be above us all, according to the social justice warrior NPC left in the current year. But some people might want to stand up to that. Some people might disagree with that. And I think if we want a truly diverse, mutual respecting, equal opportunity and tolerant world, then everyone needs to understand that some people just might not like gays. And you know what? If they don't want to do that, that is their right. Just as it's your right as a gay person to go and sleep with whomever you like, so long as you are not coercing them. Again, thank you very much for watching. I know my voice is a little bit raspy and my energy is a little bit down because I am still a little bit ill. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to share it around. If you're having a look at this painting in the background, that is for sale there. You can email me on the email in the info, mattismonlife@protonmail.com. That is an original piece of art. It was done by my wife. It's actually an amazing piece of art. So if you want to buy it, please let me know. And we'll get it delivered to you somehow. Just send me an email. We'll sort it out. Otherwise, share this video around. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see ya when I see ya.